Very good morning. We are starting this news bulletin with a headlines today exclusive. This is another big controversy that has hit the IPL, a controversy involving cricketing czar N.Srinivasan, his own company, India Cements, and the Chennai Super Kings. This is a headlines today exclusive. The controversy revolves around the valuation of Chennai Super Kings, a team which has won the IPL twice over, was runner-up thrice, boasts of stars like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Ravindra Jadeja, Brendan McCullum and Michael Hussey. Now this team, and this is the catchphrase, has been valued by its owners at just, and we can't emphasize the amount enough, at just 5 lakh rupees. Well, you heard it right, 5 lakh rupees. As absurd as it may sound, that's the amount the team was sold by India Cements to a subsidiary in February this year. Well, that was our exclusive number one. Let's move on to number two. Is the fact that IPL Governing Council has refused to accept this very valuation and has not ratified this sale of CSK. BCCI rules state 5% of team sales price must be given to board, and this valuation would mean the board would get just 25,000 rupees from the CSK team sale. Shockingly, the old council did not question this absurd price. It was only after the new IPL Council took charge under the Supreme Court directions that the issue was red flagged in a meeting 2 days ago on Monday. Headlines today has the minute of the old council meeting to prove how everyone toed a certain line dictated by who everyone knows. The owner's valuation comes even as a US-based consultancy valued the team at a whopping 450 crore rupees last year. Our consulting editor, Sports Boria Mazumdar, is with me live on this story. You know, Boria, with all our viewers who are just joining us, trying to connect the dots, make sense of this headlines today exclusive. You know, there's only one question. 5 lakhs, is it all that it takes to own an IPL team?
I don't have the answer to that, Preeti. I mean, when I first found out about this day before yesterday night, and got the document in my hand, I was completely astounded. I really don't know. I mean, how 5 lakhs was arrived at the value. It effectively means that you and I can go and own Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Suresh Raina, Brendan McCullum, Dwayne Bravo and all of the others for 6 lakhs, 5 lakhs or whatever it is. I mean, people are tweeting, if you see, it's the #1 trending thing on Twitter. People are saying, I would much rather go and buy Chennai Super Kings than pay my IIM fees. So it's become hilarious. But look at the seriousness of it. By doing this, you are actually depriving the BCCI of legitimate earnings close to 50 crore rupees, because that is what the ground value of Chennai Super Kings will be like. 2 last IPL teams, Preeti, Pune and Kochi, were sold for 1,700 and 1,500 respectively, and they never won the IPL. Chennai twice winners, most successful franchise. It's anybody's guess what the value should be. So in short, I really don't know what prompted this absurdity to come from.
And when you say the valuation would be, you know, a ballpark figure given by a US firm was 450 crores, Boria.
Correct. And 450 crores, Preeti, will be a conservative estimate. Just think, 2 last IPL teams were sold for 1,700 and 1,500. Chennai, look at the track record, look at the goodwill, look at the brands. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is worth how much? I mean, everybody knows that. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Brendan McCullum, Suresh Raina, Dwayne Bravo, look at the names, Ravichandran Ashwin. It is one of the most glittering teams in the IPL, and you peg their value at 5 lakhs. Now that is absolutely absurd. That's why Anurag Thakur says it will be discussed on Sunday in the working committee. But will it be mere discussion, or will there be action?
Why is it, Boria? Why is it, you know, if you can break it down for our viewers, what was it that the CSK was befitting, which of course, you know, the bottom line is Mr. N.Srinivasan, that the valuation was 5 lakhs. Why was the valuation put to just 5 lakh rupees?
Preeti, our understanding is, and we on Headlines Today from the very start of this story have said, we will only go with facts. We will not impute motives. The fact is, the BCCI stands to gain 5% of the transfer fee. Why was the transfer being done? So as to ensure that the conflict of interest case involving N.Srinivasan no longer continues to haunt him as asked for by the Supreme Court of India. So the transfer was being done to Chennai Super Kings Cricket Limited, a new company. So if the transfer was valued at current market value, take it at 500, take it at 1,000 crores, whatever you want to take it, the BCCI stands to earn 50 crore rupees. 5% of that money. Now clearly the Chennai Super Kings or CSK did not want to pay that money, which is why they've said the value is 5 lakhs. So they are paying the BCCI 25,000 rupees. Now if this is a sinister plot, I don't know.
Okay.
Why this was done, I don't know. All I do know is it is absolutely ridiculous, and that is why Ajay Shirke, Jyotiraditya Scindia and the current governing council threw their arms and said we are not going to ratify it.
All right, just stay on with me, Borya. We're going to give a backgrounder to our viewers as well, but let's quickly cut into that reaction by Anurag Thakur.
So the CSK shares, the minutes of the meeting last time was not ratified, and it is being said that CSK shares valuation was so low that it was kind of, taking the income away from the BCCI. So what do you have to say on that?
See, looking at the issue, the committee has decided, the IPL Governing Council has decided that the issue will be debated in the next upcoming working committee meeting on 26th.
All right, I want to also cut across to Rasesh Mandani. He's getting in all the reactions coming in from the BCCI. Now, it will be discussed. Will it be limited to discussion? A point raised by Borya Mazumdar, and I want to go across to Rasesh. Rasesh, what reactions are you picking up from the BCCI?
With a number of important reactions coming in, some of which we've already shared with our viewers. An important member of senior BCCI functionary, the secretary of the board, Anurag Thakur, in making it clear that this issue will be taken up at the working committee meeting. Niranjan Shah, former secretary of the board, who will now also be a part of the working committee as a special invitee, calling these numbers quite ridiculous. Another BCCI official calling them bizarre. So, the BCCI has taken note of it. Just to bring our viewers up to date with the lowdown of what happened in the previous governing council meeting, that's when a couple of senior BCCI functionaries, Ajay Shirke and Jyotiraditya Scindia, took this issue up. Ajay Shirke has been the treasurer of the board. Jyotiraditya Scindia is the chairman of the finance committee of the board. These are people who understand the numbers. They are the ones who took objection when Sundaraman, the IPL CEO, brought to speed people about the minutes of the previous meeting, where the final details of the CSK transfer told us that only 5% of 5 lakh would be paid by the CSK to the BCCI, which means effectively 25,000 rupees. Obviously, looking at these numbers, with astonishment, these senior BCCI functionaries raised an objection to it. It became an issue at the meeting, and now a number of BCCI officials have reacted to our story as well, and this issue would be taken up in the next working committee meeting in Calcutta on Sunday. What are the options for the BCCI? We'll have to wait and watch. But it's clearly of case. If the BCCI reads this as misrepresentation of facts on behalf of CSK, then it would be interesting how they want to take this forward.
All right, Rasesh and Borya, just stay on with us. We have a valuation expert with us. Kapil Veluki is with us. Kapil, you're a valuation expert. Last year, a US firm had put ballpark, give and take, 450 crores. Borya says that it's a conservative estimate. How much would you estimate that the Chennai Super Kings would be worth, and how laughable is a figure of 5 lakh rupees?
So, hi Preeti. So, the US consultancy that did the valuation is actually us itself. We are American Appraisal, a division of Duff & Tubbs in the US. And in fact, we've recently released our latest report on the brand values in the IPL. In fact, last year the valuation that we ascribed to the brand value of Chennai Super Kings, and when I speak about brand value, let's not get confused between brand value and business value. Brand value is a portion of the business value of Chennai Super Kings, and the valuation that we ascribed to it was $72 million, which works out to around 430 crore rupees at the prevailing exchange rates. Of course, in the latest report, we've also taken some adjustments to this valuation. We've updated our valuation numbers for the latest information that has been available to us. Of course, a lot of it from public domain and primary research. And the latest valuation that we have now is around $67 million. So it's down from last year, mainly on account of some of the controversies that CSK has been going through, which is kind of dampened in advertiser sentiment in the brand CSK. So that is now valued at around $67 million. So, and if you apply the current exchange rate, that's around 400 crores.
Right.
So that is just a portion of the business value, which is, and as per from our analysis and our studies, what we know and what we estimate is that brand value could be anywhere between 30 to 40% of your business value. So you're looking at, if you just apply a simplistic estimate and divide that by 40%, you're looking at 1,000 crore valuation.
There's also a side story to all of this, so do stay on with us because I'm going to bring in Borya at this point of time. He's also going to be asking you a few questions. Borya, let's look at it from the other side. What if the subsidiary also has the same ownership pattern as the parent company? Then what has really changed here?
Absolutely, Preeti. I mean, first, Kapil was actually getting to a very important point there. For laymen like you and me, Kapil, can you tell us a figure? You were saying 40% of the business value. Just tell our viewers, you are an independent expert. Tell our viewers what should be the market value of Chennai Super Kings, brand plus business. Give us an approximate figure. What are we looking at? What is the figure that you would have ascribed to Chennai Super Kings?
So this is a tough question, and you know how the valuation community kind of works, and a lot of the analysis that we've got is from the public domain and from our research, reaching out to a lot of advertisers, etc. Because all those valuations are driven by revenues that, of course, that is shared. The BCCI shares with its franchises, which is very publicly available, but also what the franchises earn on their own, which is not publicly available. So mainly, it's just to give you a simplistic an answer. If I'm just going to stop at saying that brand value could be anywhere between 30 to 40%. So of the business value. So on a conservative estimate, you could be looking at around 800 crores to maybe 1200 crores for a brand value of some of the large.
Okay, that's enough.
IPL.
Kapil, if it is 800 to 1200 crores, if it is between 800 to 1200 crores, let's peg it at 1000. If it's 1000 crores, the BCCI stands to get 50 crores from the transfer. Simple. 50 crores from the transfer, which is 5% of that figure according to franchise agreement 10.4. Now here the BCCI is getting 25,000 rupees. So 50 crores and 25,000 rupees, that is what we are seeing. Now, is this sinister? Is this deliberate? Why was this done? How did the IPL GC allow this to pass? Will somebody please tell us these answers? That's what we are asking on Headlines today. Simple.
Appreciate that. Appreciate Kapil. Thank you for joining us and taking us through the breakdown there. So a ballpark figure, even if we just look at the valuation right now in the current market, 850 crores. That means 50 crores would have gone to the BCCI. How much gone right now is just 25,000 rupees. It would be taken up for consideration, the matter. It would be taken up for discussion. But Borya, the point is, will it be mere discussion, or are we looking what action can actually be taken here?
Absolutely. I mean, in the past, when Lalit Modi was involved in, financial impropriety, what happened? He was suspended, he was terminated. This is a case where the BCCI was standing to lose 50 crores for whoever. I mean, we are not blaming individuals on Headlines today, but somebody has to take the blame, Preeti, isn't it? I mean, the previous governing council will have to be accountable because their names are in that sheet. Headlines today has not produced it. It's the IPL GC minutes. Now, if the IPL GC minutes were being placed for ratification, what does that tell you? That these minutes were approved and accepted by the previous GC. That is why it was placed for ratification by the current GC. Now, will questions be asked of Ranjit Biswal? 1. Will Sundar Raman come and answer as the IPL CEO? 2. And if these answers are not acceptable, will they be terminated? Will they be suspended? Will they be investigated? Will an independent valuation firm be ordered to investigate Chennai Super Kings? Imagine. The Supreme Court is already investigating Chennai Super Kings and Sundar Raman, and despite that this comes into play. Will it allow the fans to go and watch the IPL in a fair manner, or will it erode fans' faith? The BCCI really needs to act, and act quickly. Borya,
we're getting in reactions from the IPL Council. Let's quickly dip into Niranjan Shah's bite. We're coming Niranjan Shah's reaction. We're going to come right back to you, Borya. Do stay with us.
It is a very ridiculous price quoted by CSK as a market value of the whole thing. I think with this price also it decreased the price of IPL also. Such a huge CSK brand, and just in 5 lakhs. It is not in our common sense that how can it be happen. We will raise the question in the working committee, and then it will be up to working committee to decide what is the next course of action. We have to get into this whole valuation process. It's such a ridiculous valuation be done with such a huge team. I think the board will lose lot of money, and this is not in a good taste for the board. If the question is raised on the valuation, why not the third party or totally independent party should do that? What is wrong?
All right, Borya still with me at this juncture. You know, Borya, if the figure, like everybody is saying, and it clearly is out in the open, is so ridiculous that it is just 5 lakh rupees, what was the old board actually doing, letting it pass?
You know, that's the million-dollar question that you're asking, because the IPL Governing Council meeting happened on the 27th of February, Preeti, of which you have the minutes in your hand.
Yes.
On the next very day, 28th of February and the 1st of March, the BCCI had its general body meeting. This wasn't even referred to in the general body meeting, as Niranjan Shah told us. Now, how is that even possible? Chennai Super Kings transfer is authorized for 5 lakh rupees. That is not even mentioned to the BCCI general body. It is the minutes of that meeting not even circulated. Suddenly it is placed on the floor of the house day before yesterday in front of the new IPL GC members, and they are told, come on, ratify this. And then suddenly 2 members sort of create a hue and cry saying, oh, we cannot do this because this is absurd and ridiculous. The secretary says it will be referred to in the working committee on Sunday. There's something seriously wrong in this. I mean, what is wrong, we don't know. Kapil told us the independent valuation would be about 1,000 crores at a conservative estimate. So we are talking big numbers here, and what the BCCI stands to lose.
You know, okay, till now, Borya, we are focusing on the BCCI standing to lose now what seems like about 50 crore rupees. What about if we talk about the subsidiary, which also has the same ownership pattern? If it does, then doesn't it somewhere down the line tantamount of hoodwinking the Supreme Court?
I can't say that. I mean, I don't know if it's sort of, all I can say is the Supreme Court appointed committee, the Lodha Commission, is investigating this matter. I mean, not this particular matter, they're investigating the IPL, they're investigating CSK, they're investigating the conduct of Sundar Raman. So, you know, all of these people, Sundar Raman and company, need to be above board because they are being investigated by the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And 3 people who are retired Supreme Court judges. So, Preeti, you clearly understand the ramifications of this. You understand that now the BCCI is under Article 226.
Yes.
The Supreme Court has said it's a public body disbursing public functions. Now, are you disbursing public functions in a fair manner? Are you disbursing functions in a transparent manner? Or are there questions to be asked? The jury is out on that one.
You know, let me ask you the same question, not the same question, but like a related. The subsidiary also has the same ownership pattern as the parent company. Now, what's changed here?
What has changed is the 28% share that Mr. Srinivasan and his family own will now no longer be with them. It will be with the 88,000 shareholders of India Cements. So the fact of the matter is, why was this done? In one sentence, this was done to rid Mr. Srinivasan of the conflict of interest charge. That's it. To pave the way for Mr. Srinivasan to contest BCCI elections and be eligible to hold BCCI positions in future. That is why this was done.
Right.
And to do this, because a new company is being formed, you have to pay 5% to the board. Now, in order to pay 5%, which comes to 50, 60, 70 crores, whatever it is, you needed to pay that value. Now, you clearly did not want to pay that value, which is why you pegged the valuation at 5 lakhs, of which 25,000 rupees you deposited in the board coffers. Imagine, that is already done. The transaction has happened. The previous GC has approved it. Only the ratification was left, and thank goodness the ratification did not go through.
You know, we want to just take our viewers through the backgrounder of this Headlines Today exclusive. Borya, I'd urge you to stay on with us. We're going to come right back to you. You know, to give our viewers a quick backgrounder in this particular case. Let's go back to January this year. Supreme Court ruled that BCCI officials had to pick between running cricket or owning teams. Since N.Srinivasan was accused of conflict of interest, the court order prompted the transfer of CSK ownership. This in turn led to India Cements Board vesting ownership of CSK to a wholly owned subsidiary in February this year. And that is where the question of the subsidiary comes in. Accordingly, IPL franchisee CSK was transferred to a subsidiary called the Chennai Super Kings Limited. India Cements Board decided subsidiary will be owned by existing shareholders on a proportion basis. 70% India Cements shares are held by public promoters, hold 28%, and N.Srinivasan holds 0.14% of the shares. Decision to transfer shares came after Supreme Court ruling said BCCI officials owning teams was nothing short of conflict of interest. Borya, CSK ownership transfer to a subsidiary with a similar ownership pattern.
Preeti, again, I mean, let's simplify this as far as possible for our viewers. The new independent company or the independent subsidiary, there is one significant change, and the change is Mr. Srinivasan will be absent. That's it. Please understand, why is this being done? Why is it necessary to change the ownership pattern? The necessity is Mr. Srinivasan's issue of conflict of interest. That's all. The Supreme Court said in the current position where his family and he has 28% shareholding, there is a clear case of conflict of interest, so he cannot contest the BCCI election, seek re-election as president, etc., etc. So Mr. Srinivasan, to ensure that that problem is sorted, decided on doing this. That's it. Now, in trying to do it, obviously the India Cements, Chennai Super Kings have tried to save money which is due to the BCCI or the Board of Control for Cricket in India. What is the money? 50 to 100 crores according to Kapil, who valued Chennai Super Kings for us at close to 1,000 crores. Now, clearly, the BCCI has lost 50 to 100 crores as a result of the sanction to this deal by the previous governing council. Will heads roll? Will people be suspended? Will investigations happen? Will questions be asked? We don't know. Perhaps these will all happen in the working committee on Sunday.
Ideally, what is the action which would be taken at something like this, Borya?
In the past, there is precedence. When Lalit Modi was involved in a case of financial impropriety, the BCCI suspended him. In the past, when Raj Kundra was involved in a case of spot fixing or alleged spot fixing, the BCCI suspended him pending inquiry under Jagmohan Dalmia. Lalit Modi's case is a glaring one. That's a case of financial impropriety. Has anything been proved in the courts of law? But the BCCI went ahead and suspended him, terminated him. He was sacked. Now, will something like that happen with Sundar Raman? Anirudh Chaudhary is the treasurer of the BCCI under the current dispensation. He is the treasurer, was the treasurer under the former dispensation. He is the custodian of the board's finances. He will have explaining to do that why was this done? How is it that the board is losing money? Sundar Raman continues to be the IPL CEO for the last several years. He will have a lot of explaining to do. Why is it that Sundar Raman allowed this to happen? Why is it that these minutes were circulated by Sundar Raman? My sources in the GC tell me that Sundar Raman circulated these minutes on the floor of the House, because the minutes were not circulated previously, which should have been the case, which is the norm for meetings like this, but they were circulated on the floor of the House. Most importantly, Preeti, what I know, and from my sources in the previous GC, that Amarchand Mangaldas was supposed to do an independent valuation. Was it done? The previous GC members tell me no, it wasn't done. So some of them are saying that they have no idea where this valuation is coming from, which is a very significant comment, because that means these minutes, I am not imputing motive, that means these minutes have not been approved by the previous GC as well. Some really serious charges being leveled here, Preeti.
You know, Borya, we're going to come right back to this Headlines Today exclusive. We have lots of reactions which are coming in. Let's quickly dip into what Anurag Thakur had to say. We're going to slip into a quick break after that. But this is our top focus story on the network. Right back with all the reactions for our viewers. Do stay with us.
So the CSK shares, the minutes of the meeting last time was not ratified, and it is being said that CSK shares valuation was so low that it was kind of taking the income away from the BCCI. So what do you have to say on that?
See, looking at the issue, the committee has decided, the IPL Governing Council has decided that the issue will be debated in the next upcoming working committee meeting on 26th.